Bow down before my psycho power.
Now, the interesting thing about Armor King that I think everyone should know is that there's two of them. The one we have now is the little brother to the original Armor King. These two originally fought as tag team wrestlers. Now, the original Armor King 1, traveled around to fight worthy opponents. Kind of like Fang Wei, kind of like Akuma, one of the most notable fighting game characters to travel around and look for opponents. And while doing this, Armor King ran into Paul Phoenix, who was acting as like a dojo bodyguard type person. But while Armor King was going around being what the game called a dojo crasher, he eventually ran into another person who also wore a jaguar mask. This was King. Armor King was intrigued by this, and he went in a head-to-head battle with him. He lost because he sustained an injury to his eye. This is why the original Armor King has the messed up eye. Now in Tekken 8, they kind of just do it just because it looks cool, but there was meaning behind it at one point. Armor King lost that battle with King, and this is kind of what sparked the rivalry. The rivalry led all the way up until the first King of the Iron Fist tournament, where they both participated. Armor King was defeated, and King went on to place high enough to where he could get some money to help his orphanage. Now, something that we have to say about King at this point in time is that the original King, there's two Kings as well. There's the second King that we have now, and there's the original King that was existing then. That original King had an orphanage where he would basically use money for his prize fights to take care of the children, right? You have many endings and whatnot where he's kind of like this hero to them. They look up to him. And one of the people within that orphanage, it is never specified who, but takes on the mantle of King once the original King dies. But we're skipping a couple of steps. Before we get up to that point where these guys are dying and being replaced, you have to first talk about the introduction of the evil, the insidious Marduk. After the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 1, this is Tekken 1, Armor King and King, their rivalry turned into friendship. These guys would spar a lot, they would train a lot, they were great friends. When things changed the most is when one of the children at the King's orphanage passed away. This had a huge impact on the original King. He became more erratic, he became an alcoholic, he was consumed by despair. Armor King, as we see in one of the intros of the earlier Tekkens, finds him drunk, wasted, and brings him out of that. He convinced him to resume his training, to put the alcohol down, and get his life back together. The motivation to do so was the next King of the Iron Fist tournament. These two would enter once more as rivals, and they would battle giving it their all. After that, he developed a heart condition which made him cough up blood, and it made his vision terrible. All of the ups and downs these two fighters experienced, it just made them stronger, it just made them better, it just made them closer. Their friendship, their brotherhood lasted for 15 years. On the 16th year, the original King was chased down and slain by Ogre. Ogre is the boss of Tekken 3 who came seemingly out of nowhere. We don't know too much about the end goal he has, but what he was doing in Tekken 3 was chasing down many warriors and trying to take their energy. And strangely enough, there's many characters that Ogre may or may not have battled, but the confirmed two is Baek-do-san and King. Baek-do-san survived his battle with Ogre just barely. He was put into a coma. King, on the other hand, he was far more unlucky. He was the only confirmed death of Ogre, and this had a big impact on Armor King. It made him sink into this state of depression because these two were friends. Even though they started off in this weird rivalry, they bonded over it, and over the course of 16 years, they grew to love and respect one another. While Armor King was swirling in this depression, he learned that there was a new king showing up. The new king was trying to rebuild the orphanage, was trying to fight for the original king's name. This was new motivation for Armor King, keeping King's name alive and helping rebuild the orphanage he once loved. After Armor King 1 bonded and grew closer with King 2, he eventually told him the story of how the original king died. This was motivation for King 2 to join the King of the Iron Fist tournament and try to hunt down Ogre. This was a lot of characters' motivation going into Tekken 3. They all wanted a piece of him. Now, we all know that Paul Phoenix one-touched Ogre, and then Jin Kazama showed up later and really sealed the deal. And that kind of allowed all these characters to be at peace with his demise and move on. But the funny thing is, on the topic of Ogre, Harada said that more than one exists in temples and tombs all over the globe. If you really try to count and analyze his statements, there's at least like 15 of them out there. It seems like one on an island of Yakushima may or may not have been awoken by Jin Kazama and Kazuya in their battle that decimated the island. We also believe that there may be one in Madagascar who may or may not be working with, for, or against Marizu. But regardless of what the developers try to do there, Ogre will reemerge, and all of these characters who have connections to their story, how will they react? Because a lot of people think about what will Jin Kazama do, but you also got to keep in mind that King 2, his whole motivation at the start was to get revenge as well, because Jin thought he lost his mother, but King did. So I wonder how much this story will play into that aspect for characters like Harang and whatnot, but we'll have to see as the story unfolds. Sometime later, this is the introduction of the hideous Marduk. Marduk is a character who's evil by all ways. He is a murderer, he is a villain, he is scum. He even has this crazy cutscene with Anna.
Oh, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. You need to get with me, girl.
He finds Anna attractive. Anna's not interested.
I am not into Neanderthals. Go back to your cage.
He beats up Anna and he walks away laughing with an unconscious body saying,
I always get what I want. Ha 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 ha.
Moments like that just show you who Marduk really is. Craig Marduk ran into the original Armor King in a bar in Arizona. In a drunken bar fight, Marduk killed the original Armor King. This was motivation for King 2 to enter into the tournament. He was driven by revenge, he was driven by frustration, by anger, by hatred. But on his journey to Marduk, he realized that revenge is not the answer. He let it go, he forgave him. These two guys are kind of friends now. He forgave Marduk and all the crazy things that he has done. Now here's where the next Armor King shows up, because he's not so forgiving. Armor King 2 hears that King 2 is not trying to get revenge for the death of the original Armor King. Now, mind you, Armor King 1 and Armor King 2 were brothers, and they also were like tag team wrestlers. And you would have to assume over that 15-year period, all of these guys would have interacted with one another and had a very strong bond. So Armor King 2, seeing that and hearing that and knowing that King is not trying to avenge his fallen brother, he just couldn't stand by that. Armor King swore to get revenge on Marduk. He wants death, he wants fire, he wants fury, he wants to end his life. These two had battles here and there, small skirmishes, you know, the King of the Iron Fist that, you know, backyard alley that. But Marduk really is the one who's coming out on top. Maybe not in the fight, but more so just in the mind. He is living rent-free inside the head of Armor King 2, showing up to wrestling events, the King and Iron Fist tournaments, wearing the Armor King mask. He wears, and I don't know if it's the original mask, that will be crazy. You slay Armor King's brother, take his mask, and then you wear it. I don't know if he's doing that. If he's doing that, that sounds like Marduk though. Marduk is wearing a Armor King like mask while talking trash to the new Armor King, calling him this, calling him that, making fun of him. The Armor King 2 has been antagonized for multiple years at this point, and he cannot get a up on him. So at this point, Armor King 1 is gone. He was killed by Marduk. King 1 is gone. He was slain by Ogre. So now you have the descendants, Armor King 2 trying to get revenge against Marduk. And you have King 2 who is trying to intervene and say revenge is not the answer. Marduk being hunted and chased down by Armor King 2. He felt like he was seeing his ghosts. He felt like he was seeing demons. And this guy went so far to dig up the grave of the original Armor King to make sure that his body was still there. And it was there. As that was happening, Armor King 2 shows up and catches him in the act. What transpires here is one of the most legendary cutscenes that Tekken has ever created. This basically set the stage for these two warriors to clash and for one of them to come out on top. Craig Marduk and Armor King fought It was vicious. It was nasty. Both of them was left brutally, seriously injured, hospitalized. When Marduk awoke, he found a letter. The letter was demanding a rematch, but also it says that if Marduk loses, he would retire from fighting forever. But if Armor King loses, he said that he will unmask and he will show the world what he looks like. Marduk liked the idea of these terms and he accepted the challenge. Now, in Tekken 8, we know that King is stepping in between them once more. He's actually so much in the middle of them that he tells Armor King, you're going to have to go through me if you want Marduk. King is at all means trying to play peacemaker, so much so that he's willing to fight one of his lifelong friends just to see him not go down the path of revenge. We don't know where this story will continue. Armor King probably will blast through King. He's driven by anger, rage, and frustration. If he does, Marduk will be waiting on the other side, and that battle will be legendary.